is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, yes, yes. Give him 6. Touchdown.
Tonight, Vol Nation in mourning after learning that longtime voice of the Vols, John Ward, has died. The legendary broadcaster called some of the biggest moments in Big Orange football.
He was the Vols play-by-play announcer from 1968 until 1998. His trademark touchdown call, you just heard it, give him 6.
The Vol Network says John Ward died tonight after a lengthy illness. He was 88 years old.
WBIR 10 Sports' Kirsten Susel joins us now for a look back at his storied career behind the mic. Kirsten.
Well, it has been 2 decades since John Ward called a game. But when people mention the voice of the Vols, you know they're speaking of him. The label legend gets tossed around quite a bit this day and age, but Ward was every bit of a legend in the realm of broadcasting college football and the Big Orange community.
4, 3.
John Ward, the voice of the Vols and an icon in the booth. Ward was the play-by-play announcer for Tennessee football games on Vol Network Radio for 30 years. For 3 decades, he did more than simply call the games. He painted a picture and unified a fan base. In 1998, he made the decision to step away. It was a simple farewell.
It's time.
Leaving Vol Nation with a lifetime of memories.
Yes, yes, yes. Give him 6. Touchdown, Heath Schuler.
And his famous calls that would become synonymous with Tennessee football.
Football time in Tennessee.
In a tweet, the Vol Network calls Ward one of the most beloved broadcasters and ambassadors for the University of Tennessee. They go on to say while his passing is a sad day, they take great pride in the fact that John belonged to Big Orange country. He will be missed.
Certainly will be, Kirsten. And earlier tonight, we reached out to current voice of the Vols, Bob Kessling. In a statement, he says John Ward's impact on Tennessee spans decades. Kessling says this in part about his predecessor. For years, his broadcasts were the link between the Vols and the fans. It is a bond that is still strong today. He was a brilliant broadcaster and communicator. We lost one of the true legends in broadcasting and Tennessee athletics.
And many people are taking to social media to pay tribute to Ward's life. Several posts say they remember growing up with his voice during Vols football games. Many quote his well-known touchdown call, give him 6.
Right now online, you can read a full statement from the Vol Network about John Ward's death. And there you can also listen to some of his play calls from classic Vol football games, all online at WBIR.com.